Hello, I'm Ms. Kennedy, an artist in schools with the San Joaquin County Office of Education, and during this coronavirus outbreak, I'm staying home safe with my art supplies, a big stack of books, and watching the birds that fly over my yard. Today I'd like to talk to you about texture. Texture is the way something feels. In visual art, usually we imply that texture. We draw what it would feel like. Sometimes we put actual texture into our work. But today we're going to talk about how to draw texture using texture blocks, and I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to mention the elements of art first. So we start with lines, and we use those lines to draw shapes. We add color to those shapes. We might add shading or value to create a sense of three-dimensional form. We use texture to show people what things feel like. Okay, so those are the basic elements of art, the building blocks. So let me show you why texture is so important. So I'm going to start with a line, and I'm going to make a shape. So I'm thinking of something that is round, but you don't know how big it is. I could be thinking of a planet, or I could be thinking of a little piece of pollen tickling my nose. You also don't know what it feels like. So one thing I could do to give you an idea of its size would be to put something there to compare it to. So I'm putting a little bug there. So that gives you an idea of how big that circle I'm thinking about is. So if the bug is that big, maybe it's an orange, but we don't know the texture. So I'm going to have to add texture to let you know what it is I'm thinking of. So yes, it is a baseball. That's how important texture is. And you would have known it was a baseball even without that bug there, right? That's how important texture is. So, here I have a drawing of a dragon. And it's colored in, and it's kind of a nice dragon. But I'd like to create the idea of the scales on that dragon. So I have some texture blocks that I have made. So I'm going to take a look at my texture blocks. So this is from a berry basket that I cut apart, and I glued it to a piece of cardboard because it's easier for me to use that way. That would be good for making bridges or a fence. I took the bottom of the berry basket and I glued it on there because I like the shapes and the lines in there. I have a plastic bag from a bag of oranges. I cut it off and I glued it to a piece of cardboard to make it easy to use. And then this is from a bag of garlic. It's also a plastic bag, but the mesh on it is finer. And instead of gluing it, I just stuck a piece of cardboard in there. Oh, and I made these texture blocks. I hope you can see them. I put some Elmer's glue, some school glue, on some black cardboard, and I made some wavy designs on there. And around the house, I found, let's see, a block of wood, some sandpaper, and this is some foam from packaging. And then this is corrugated cardboard from a box. So let me show you how I can use those. So this is colored in, but now I want to add some texture to it. And I do like this nylon bag. I'm going to put that underneath my paper. And I'm going to use a colored pencil. And I'm holding it in place because I don't want my texture block to move while I'm using it. And you can hear the sound that it makes. And do you see how it's making that wonderful scaly texture pattern on my dragon? And I can move the block around underneath my paper to color in the areas that I want to color in with that texture. Oh, I really do like that scaly texture that it's creating. So that was the orange bag, and this is the smaller mesh, and I'm going to use that, I think, up in the wing. Oh, very nice. So what I like about that is the texture that I used here has a bigger pattern on it than the texture I'm using in the wing. But they look similar, so they look connected. Oh, I like how that's turning out. Let me show you some of the Elmer's glue pattern. So I hope you can see that. So I'm going to put that underneath here, and I'm going to use my blue pencil. Oh, I like that too. To me, it looks sort of like wind moving in the sky. So I could finish it by doing all of my texture work. I want to show you this. So this is just shapes. These are just shapes that I then used texture blocks to color in. So this strange circle-y shape up there, I filled in the color and the texture using this. This was my Elmer's glue texture block. And here I used the net texture block. Do you want to see how this turns out? Okay, let's see. I think I will use my red pencil. I'll put it underneath here. And I might just make an abstract picture where all I'm doing is rubbing texture onto my paper. To me, that looks sort of like a city. I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to take my purple pencil. I'm going to do more of that. I do like that fancy look to it. To me, that looks sort of like a city. In fact, this almost looks like the Leaning Tower of Pisa to me. So I recommend that you go around your house and look for some texture blocks, things that you can make into texture blocks. This is just the corrugated cardboard from a package. Let me see, I'm going to use it on the dragon picture. I'll put it under here. See that great texture that it's making? So do you see how the texture starts to really change the picture and make it even more full? So I encourage you to go around, look for textures that you can use in your pictures, and try working with texture. And again, you could just work with color and texture, but have fun with it. Explore the textures that are in your world, okay? I hope this inspires you. And as always, share this with your grown-ups. Look for textures together, okay? Thank you. I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you so much for visiting the locker today.